Hi, what's up, everybody? Uncle Dad here, without just Mike, here with another lovely guest. We are with. I'm gonna do my best to name all your stuff you do, but you're a journalist, you're a writer, you're a publisher, you're a publisher, right? Am I saying that correctly? You are.
An editor, yeah.
Yes, gotcha. We are with Mariana Enriquez. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you did. Hello. How are
Hi.
you?
I always have the worst anxiety when it comes to last names, so I want to make sure I got that right.
Okay.
Awesome. Mariana, for our audience that doesn't know who you are, can you just quickly tell them a little bit about kind of who you are and what your involvement with this project is, and then we'll go from there.
I'm a writer. I'm let's say I do a lot of horror writing, but I do other things. Um, I'm from Argentina,
I love that.
and that's it, kind
Okay.
of.
Mariana, your segment in First Word on Horror is so impactful and so it's quite intense, to be honest with you, and you draw from real life experience. Do you ever find yourself not wanting to share the full truth, or do you like to describe it in more detail to get the truth out fully?
I like detail. I'm not a very I don't have a lot of shame, I think, or I don't have a lot of things to hide. I like to go all the way, especially when I'm writing. I think horror also gives you that possibility, gives you that freedom, because still for some people is a genre that is not very respected.
Right.
That is kind of on the side uh, for now, because I think it's becoming more and more serious. Let's say gives you the freedom to go all the way, and yeah, I prefer much the details and not really mysterious.
I love that. I think that, as they say, the devils are the details, right? And,
Yeah.
I think, with horror, you said that so well. It's like it is one of the few genres that you can kind of go all the way. And even with things that are so uncomfortable and so, concerning that, in any other form, it would be too much. But do you ever find hard to balance that where it's not too much? Because I feel like sometimes some horror films go all the way and or just horror in general can go all the way and be a little too much. Does that make sense?
Yeah. The thing is what kind of horror you prefer and what is considered too much. I much prefer um, suggesting, and then when I go all the way, it tends to be parody, sometimes humorous.
Mm,
I don't do really gore for gore itself, because I find it boring, the synthesizing. I don't care. It's like,
sure.
okay, you're chopping something, whatever. And
Yeah.
it really takes me out of the suspension of disbelief fact that should be in horror.
Right.
Um, but sometimes, yes, you can go also very far on the other side and be too um too realistic, you know,
Yeah.
too like you read and it's like, what is going on here? I don't understand anything. Everything is suggested, everything is evanescent. And
Yes.
that is a problem too, because that is kind of leaving too much to the imagination and not giving anything to the reader. You have to understand, I think, that horror is a popular genre.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, that balance is difficult in both sides. Is difficult, and
Yeah.
not because it's repulsive. Repulsive is I don't really care about that.
Yeah.
The
I
thing is
recognize.
that I don't care about if you put 20 scenes of extra violence one after the other. It's the same as the news. I
Yeah.
don't care. I need context. I
Yeah.
need to care about something. I need narrative. I need you to tell me why I should be caring about this body that you are dismembering, and why this is something horrific and not just an exhibition. So,
Right.
yeah.
I think it's you saying that has made me think about that because like the why is so important in horror, right? Because when we think about the why, sometimes like you said, that does become like, yeah, you're killing all these people, but what's the point? Like why are we doing that? And so I think why is is sometimes overlooked, especially in slasher horror, right? Slasher horror can be a
Yeah.
little just like, okay, yeah, we're killing all these teen kids for having sex. Okay, great, but what else are we doing, right? Um,
Yeah.
so talking about whys, what brought you into this project, and how fulfilling has it been doing so?
Um, and it was proposed to me, obviously, and I can't remember. I was telling someone else that I can't remember. It was Paul Tremblay that suggested my name to
Hmm.
Phil, or if it came through the publishers, or but it was one of the two or the two together. Anyway, it was that triangle. Paul is the connection. Paul,
Right.
I'm a big fan of Paul. He really likes what I do. And we met each other in some convention thing in Spain, and we really liked each other. He's a great guy, and he's very, very generous. So that was kind of how I ended there. But Phil, the director, really likes my novel, Our Share of Night. So everything kind of clicked. And I said yes immediately. First, because I kind of say yes, but also because I realized I was the only writer that was writing in translation. I was the only one that was, writing in Spanish,
Yeah.
and with very kind of the things I write about very much of my culture. You know, I'm not a global horror thing at all.
Right.
The horrors are very Argentinian, I dare say. So, but at this the same way that the horrors of Stephen King are very American horrors.
Sure. Of course. Yeah.
So to me, I took it that way. I took it in the way that obviously I'm not comparing myself in any way to the King, but what I'm trying to say is I've read all of them. I read Leigh Barron. I love him. I read Elizabeth. I think she's brilliant. I read. These are the writers of my generation that I most admire. And to me, it was never a problem to read them in translation when I had to, or to understand what they were talking about.
Yeah.
And to me, that should go both ways, because that's the real way when we are talking about, embracing the different, embracing different cultures, and that's how you do it. You just do it. You let the person that speaks in Spanish to read the stuff in Spanish. You let them speak in English with an accent. You don't try to pretend that the Spanish language of the Spanish world is that far from the
Yeah.
American. The last 3 times I went to the States, I didn't speak in English at all. I was in New York, I spoke in Spanish all the time. In Dallas, spoke in Spanish all the time. In LA, spoke in Spanish all the time, except with in interviews.
Sure. Sure.
So, yeah. So that that drew me when I realized that. I was like, wow, it's not that common.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that because like so I'm Mexican and I don't speak Spanish. Both my parents are from Michoacan, but I don't speak Spanish at all. But like my parents will like talk to me in Spanish, right? But I'll understand it. I don't know how to describe it. I won't actually know really what they're saying, but I will understand exactly what's going on. And I think I find myself in that situation a lot with talking to other people of my Hispanic culture that when they talk to me in Spanish, there is a level of just weird thing that kind of clicks for me. Like, hey, you're speaking whatever truth it is in that native language of ours, and I don't know, like I can understand what you're saying about just kind of hearing it is as it is, like I think we need that. Like I love watching a film, especially foreign film that's based in Spanish, just in Spanish, and sometimes without the subtitles, so I can just feel the emotion of what's happening, right? And I think that's something is that is lost, and when Americans watch things, sometimes we don't fully address that, I think. And I think that's amazing that you wanted to do that and be part of that. And we need more of that, I think, in today's world, and which is especially right now, what's happening in our world in America, like we definitely need more of that. And with all that being said, when we talk about American horror, for you, what is the American horror that you enjoy film wise and literature wise?
Oh, film wise, it, David Lynch. To me, David Lynch is horror. It's not slasher. It's not.
Yeah.
Um, I love us. I love my. I mean, I escaped from my house to go see Nightmare on Elm Street. I was 13 or 14.
Yeah.
I escaped, and this is Buenos Aires,
Yeah.
and nobody really cared. It was in C16, I think, for it. I couldn't go. I was too young to enter the theater, but they didn't care, and then it was full of kids.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and there's no a lot of parental control, and I love it. I mean, I have a lot of fun with it, and that is a slasher where you get to see why. That's
Yep.
the why. That's a lot of guilt of the parents.
Yes.
There's a lot of you can't really protect your children. There's a lot of how trauma doesn't really go away.
Mhm.
That I love. I love the Freddy series and the character and what it means. And I think that's always when you put a T-shirt of Freddy, it's always like, well, okay, I'm having a pedophile killer. You know?
That is,
I mean,
yeah.
it's insane, but that's what horror does to you. But for me, it's always been the more subtle things that I was talking about before. Like if I see uh, certain chapters of Twin Peaks or Lost Highway, I die of fear. And in more contemporary horror, I really like movies like It Follows, for example, that really
Amazing.
creeps me out. Like, what is going on? And in classical 70s horror, I really like religious horror of the 70s. Like not only The Exorcist but Rosemary's Baby.
Oh
I
yeah.
think it's the first gaslighting movie I've ever seen, and it's so that idea that evil can be so disgusting. It's not like the cult,
Yeah.
the of the Satanists. It are this old lady that you see at the supermarket, and she's ultra annoying, and yeah, that is evil.
Yes.
All that kind, yeah.
Yeah.
And in reading, oh, so many people, but Shirley Jackson, I think, is my favorite. Now I'm rereading her, and obviously King, but Shirley Jackson is like, wow, what a brain. And again, that kind of domestic horror that she was like, everybody is the enemy. The house is the enemy. The
Yeah.
neighbors are the enemy. The children are the enemy. And that I love about her. I relate more than that than to ultra violence. Of course, I'm scared of ultra violence, but in fiction, I relate more to that.
I love that. We do have to wrap up, but I just before we wrap up, do you have any social media that our audience can connect with, or a website they can learn more about you?
Oh, I mean, I only have Instagram at the moment because I'm writing, so I need to keep it, small. But
Yeah.
that's my name. It's Mariana Enriquez and 1973. That is the. Soon I'm going to change it because that's the year I was born, and I don't know if I want people to be, I'm in a weird age for a woman, so I
Ah,
don't know. I don't know if I want people to know about that. But it's Mariana Enriquez, 1973.
awesome. Well, go check her out. Go check out her segment from First Word on Horror, and we'll be right back after this.